My name's Susanne Seymour. I'm from the School of Geography and the Institute for the Study of Slavery at Nottingham University. And my project has been one of these scoping study projects with an outreach element. And what it's been trying to do is to review literature which is tracing the histories of slavery and colonialism in the countryside in Britain, and also to look at literatures which review how those histories have been represented in rural Britain.
Fantastic. So how has your community involvement been working as part of that project?
Okay, so the project has mainly been scoping existing literatures, but those literatures have been from academics, they've been from government departments or voluntary groups, so they're literatures we've looked at. But we've also been doing some outreach work in Nottinghamshire with local people who work for the government, through 2 workshops based around the country estate and rural textiles.
Fantastic. So what has struck you as particularly interesting coming out of that scoping study then? Was there anything in particular you were surprised to find in amongst all that literature?
Oh, that's a really
or many things.
I suppose many things. That there are great challenges when you want to talk about histories of slavery and colonialism in rural areas with rural people. Sometimes people are interested but not interested enough to get involved. Sometimes it's difficult to get all the groups who might have an involvement to talk to you about your research, so that's a challenge. We've also found some gaps in the research. There's particular gaps, I think, in work which is focusing on how to represent these histories, what are the best ways of representing histories which aren't straightforward and which can be quite sensitive, and a lack of work which is really focusing on that aspect, I think.
Okay, so moving on from your scoping study, have you got a plan for what you're going to do next, or is that a great unknown at the moment?
Well, I've got some ideas, but one of the things I'm doing with some money I've got from this initiative is to do some further outreach work in country houses and in rural textile venues in the East Midlands. And we've got an ongoing mapping project as well, where we've taken 2 rural counties and on quite a basic sort of mapping device, we've tried to chart the connections, different types of connections to slavery and colonialism on those maps. And those maps are going to be open to people to send in information so that we can put it up on the maps and display any connections that they've found. So that's a sort of ongoing thing. But I'd really like to get involved with some of the work with arts and creative arts around representing these histories in the future.
Fantastic. So where can people find out more about that and get in touch with you if they've got connections that they think they could make?
Okay, it's my email address. I can give that email address. It's suzanne.seymour@nottingham.ac.uk, and the maps will be hosted on the Institute for the Study of Slavery website.
Okay. Wonderful. So you can look at that. Thank you very much indeed.